What comes to mind when you think of colossal monstrosities? Maybe the Tarrasque or a Behir. None of these monstrosities is quite as iconic as the purple worm. Colossal in size and ravenous in hunger, these worms prowl the Underdark in search of food. Welcome back to the Deck of Many Toy Boxes, and let's dive into the tunnels of the Underdark and learn how to run a purple worm. The purple worm is a gargantuan monstrosity with no discernible alignment. This is due to its truly mindless nature. With steel-like scales giving the worm an AC of 18 and a hit point count of 247, the purple worm is a tank of a creature. Even running from this creature is futile, as the worm has a speed of 50 feet, and even a 50-foot burrow speed on top of that. The gargantuan creature has a strength score to match it, with a colossal score of 28. The worm is slow to react, with a dexterity of 7. It has a very hardy constitution of 22. The creature is considered mindless, as in its intelligence is too low to comprehend anything more than basic survival instinct. As such, the purple worm has an intelligence score of 1. Its wisdom score, or measurement of its awareness of the world, is also low, at 8. Finally, its charisma, or people skills, is a 4. Obviously, it can't have good people skills. It's an 80-foot-long purple worm. The worm is challenged for rating 15, giving it a +5 proficiency bonus, and has proficiency with Constitution and Wisdom saving throws. The worm has Blind Sight out to 30 feet and Tremor Sense out to 60 feet. Blind Sight and Tremor Sense allow the worm to detect creatures without eyes, as they can either smell you or feel your footsteps and movements in the ground. The purple worm has a passive perception of 9, so it's easy to hide from if you don't move and are sneaky. The worm is a tunneler, obviously. But basically what that ability means is that it leaves a tunnel in its wake, a tunnel that is at least 10 feet in diameter. Finally, the worm has a multi-attack routine of 1 bite and 1 stinger. While unimpressive at first, the worm's attacks have special characteristics. First, if the creature is large or smaller in size, the worm can attempt to swallow the creature whole, dealing additional acid damage each turn the creature spends inside the worm. As for the stinger, it has the strongest poison in all of the D&D world, requiring a DC 19 Constitution saving throw and dealing a creature 42 poison damage on a failed save. Ironically, for such a massive creature, the stat block is minuscule. No legendary resistance, no legendary actions, no special spells, just a giant worm that tries to eat the players. Well, let's move on to personality in the encounter. It has no personality. Unless being a black hole that consumes everything it comes across is suddenly a personality. As for the encounter, the players will likely encounter this creature in an underground cavern system. The worm barely ever leaves the darkness and winding depths of the Underdark and below, so encountering it on the surface would be a once-in-a-campaign type of deal. The worm is ferocious, but very unintelligent, and with a low dexterity, it's unlikely it would beat any of the players for initiative. On its turn, the worm would bite and sting the closest creature, attempting to devour the character or kill the character to then devour them. Try and set up the encounter so the worm isn't restricted by its size. That is, if you want the worm to be a challenging fight. The worm can tunnel through most material, so its movement isn't really restricted by its size. More of its attacks will be restricted. Have the encounter staged in an arena-like area, so the worm can make use of its stinger as well as its bite. Combat proceeds as normal, with the worm being too unintelligent to know when it has lost, and therefore making the battle a fight to the death. Before I end the video, I should talk about one thing. The boons of the worm. Purple worms go through a lot of rock and dirt, and almost everything they chew through is ingested and expelled back out as well. More rock and dirt. However, the worm often contains many jewels inside its body, as they cannot be digested by the worm, and the skin and stinger of the worm can be made into formidable armor and weapons, with the party being able to harvest any poison that was left over. And this poison is the most expensive poison out of any of them at that. A party that kills the worm can harvest all of this, as well as any magical items the worm's other victims had on them, since also those things can't be digested. Thank you guys for watching this rather short video. I'm sorry for the slight delay between this episode of How to Run and the last episode of How to Run. I just got a little busy and, with quarantine and things like that going on, which that statement alone will completely date this video. I just couldn't really find time to sit down and record and edit. So here's the video, and as of right now, I really don't have a good idea of what monster I'm going to run for the next video. Go ahead and comment down below what monster you'd like that to be, and I will choose from your comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode.